Hello and welcome to the morning show teeing off with RevSportz. A very good morning to all of you present. This is me Rohan Chaudhary and lots happening in the sports world right now. The IBA Women's Boxing Championship will start. Nikhat Zarin will play the first bout. The All England Open is open. The ISL final is nearby. The ODI series, and today a special day for Indian fans and cricket fans all over the world. Sachin Tendulkar's 100th century today, back in 2012. So to discuss, we have Shubhan Chakraborty, Debashish Sen, and who better than to discuss about Sachin Tendulkar than Buriya Majumdar. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
So,
Good morning.
Debashish is there again with the Gujarat Titans jersey.
Gujarat Titans, are they paying you?
No, I have to get hold of a Mohun Bagan jersey.
Exactly. You must get hold of a Mohun Bagan jersey, and then Shubhan will tweet more. When will I get this East Bengal?
Yeah, we'll come to the ISL final also, but before that, Sachin Tendulkar's 100th century. Buriya, who better than to tell us about this?
I was there. In fact, it was a funny one. Sachin and I had planned this for about a year, that the moment the 100th happens, we will record that particular chapter for the book, because we don't want to keep it for later. The emotion will not be there. So I was sort of traveling around since that World Cup century against South Africa, and it took a long time, right? It took one whole year. In fact, in the middle, he got some really good knocks in. West Indies 76 not out. When he got that 76 not out, and I called him, one of the newspapers sort of made a headline which said, Sachin is 24 short. And he's like, are these people mad? I've won India a match with 76 not out, and they're writing Sachin is 24 short. Are you guys crazy or what? So it was like that, okay? He used to get, at that point, 6,000 SMSs a month. 200 a day, get your 100th, get your 100th. He said, look, you guys have created this monkey. It's not me. You guys have created it. And I remember he got the 100. We were at the Sonargaon Hotel in Dhaka. His room number was 723. And India lost that game. So there was a huge crowd outside that stadium. People were jumping on top of cars and dancing and all that, the Bangladeshi supporters. So I went back to the hotel and I was sitting in the lobby. I had no idea if Sachin wanted to talk after the defeat or what he wants to do. So it was about 11:30, quarter to 12, I reached the hotel, and I was having coffee in the ground floor coffee shop. At about 1 a.m., and obviously nobody was allowed to go to Sachin's room. At about 1 a.m., all of a sudden I get a call. Are you there? I said, yes, I am. He said, can you come up? I said, they won't let me. He said, I'm telling them, come. So I was asked to come up. I went about at 1:05, 1:10, and there was nobody except Sachin. He was still wearing the game jersey, and he was standing on the wall, the corridor wall like this. And he sees me, and I said, so the monkey is off your back. And he says, you guys created this monkey. And he went on a rant. And then he said, before you and I start, Anjali is still on 99. I'm on 100, because Anjali and the kids were in Goa. So he gave Anjali a call, spoke to her briefly, spoke to his mother briefly, and then we settled down to do the 100 interview. The whole room was full of balloons. The whole room was, I think there were about 3 cakes. And that is when he presented his 100 gloves to me. I said, it was a promise, you give it to me tonight. So he wrote 114 versus Bangladesh and gave it to me. I took a long time, but I thought it was a good story.
Absolutely. What a brilliant story. Shubhan, I'll come to you. Debashish, what were you doing at that day? On that day?
I did not go. I was not on tour during that series. I missed, and something that I will miss forever in my life. Means missing out on Masters 100. What an occasion! And I remember, if Buriya would remember, all the traveling media journalists were given one-on-one interview by Sachin Tendulkar in ITC in Sonargaon, Pan Pacific Sonargaon Hotel. So just remember, it was an iconic moment for everyone, a moment to cherish for all the traveling media. So I missed it.
Yeah, Devashish is right. I was asked, will I get this done? And I remember there were a lot. Devashish Dotto came to me and said, you've already done yours, but will you help all of us do it? And I was like, absolutely, this is not my occasion. This is a national, international occasion. So I remember, going to Sachin and saying, hello, can you give 1.5 hours? Let everybody get 5 minutes each and do this. He said, but 3 questions each. I said, I take responsibility. I'll coordinate, but do this. And we sort of set it up in the hotel. And there was this guy called Satish, who used to be India's media manager at that point in time. So I went up to Satish and I said, speak to Mr. Srinivasan, get permission because this is a special occasion. We have to do this. So he got it done. And then Sachin did this whole media interaction that Devashish just spoke about.
Absolutely. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Shubhan, coming to you. Any memories from that day? What were you doing on that day? Shubhan, you are on mute.
Yeah, so I was just a student back then, and we remember it. I remember it. It was a Friday, so we all came. We all assembled in my place, and there were 7 8 friends, and it felt like that century was coming that day. It felt like, and after Sachin got that century, that flick, and it was all relief. It was all relief. It took almost a year, so it was a happy moment. We celebrated. We also brought a cake, celebrated Sachin's 100th. And unfortunately, India lost that match. It was, I guess, Mushfiqur Rahim's that terrific knock down the order that helped Bangladesh win that match. But what a moment, what a occasion that was. And I still remember reading all the newspapers, collecting all the newspapers the next day, and I still have a few paper cuttings from those time. And like Boria said, it was a moment of celebration for the entire nation, not only Sachin.
So, Bodhida, do you think this record will ever be broken?
No. I mean, Virat is on 75 to get, and I was calculating the other day, his hundreds come every 7.53 matches. And obviously it has slowed down. It's no longer the same form as he had between 2016 and 18. So if I extrapolate that statistic, and even if he has a late career resurgence like Tendulkar did, it will take him another 4 to 5 years. Impossible. I mean, if he does get it, as an Indian, all of us will be hugely, hugely happy. But 100 hundreds is perhaps a bridge too far. What will he, Virat might possibly break the ODI record. He will. I'm very sure he will. But in terms of 100 international hundreds, I don't think anybody will have that longevity. One more quick story. That same night, and my first question to Sachin was, you looked up, what did you say? What were you saying? Were you thanking your father? Were you doing what? He said, no. I looked up to the heavens and I asked God. I was always the most honest and hardworking devotee of the sport. Why did God made me wait for so long despite all the hard work? What wrong did I do that God made me wait for 1 whole year? That is what I was asking, looking at the heavens. I thought, what an incredible man to give me this incredible answer.
Wow. How many times Sachin got out in 99? Any
crazy number of times. If you still had the DRS, ask Shubha and ask Mama. I mean, people like Simon Cowell also made mistakes and gave him out. Forget Steve Bucknor. I mean, that Collingwood dismissal in England, who knows? I mean, crazy number of times in the 90s, right? So if you add all that, who knows? We would have got to 125 hundreds.
Okay. Devashish, coming to you, any favorite century from Sachin you have in mind?
One that I cherish was that 50th 100 and Centurion. I mean, getting to 50 Test centuries is not a matter. It's an unbelievable achievement, and and remember, Centurion was one of the fastest track in those times, and even now, even today also, Centurion happens to be one of the bounces and fastest track in South Africa, apart from Johannesburg. So and to face the likes of Dale Steyn and Monty Morkel and to score 100, that was unbelievable. And then the reason I am saying so because I got to interview Master after he got that, and the same thing happened I think that time who was the media manager? I still Boriada, can you remember who was the media manager then? Centurion.
No, don't exactly remember, but I
Mayank Parikh,
remember your interview
was
very
the
clearly.
logistic manager. Mayank Parikh was the logistic manager. Who was the media manager?
I
Anyway,
remember Devashish's interview. I absolutely do remember Devashish's
yeah.
interview.
Some
Shubham,
memories, some memories.
any
I
fond
think
fond
I think
sentiment?
the Sydney double century was the topmost. I think the best. I have seen Sachin play to curb all his instinct, to not play the cover drive for so long, to dish out a master class for ages. I think that has to be Sachin Tendulkar's best ever knock against Australia in Sydney, one of the biggest occasions, Test cricket. That 241 was special. And even if you go through that wagon wheel till date, it will have a story. It's a story altogether. How he came back to form, how he made that masterclass, and I'm pretty sure Boria will have a story around that knock as well. And I would
I
be more
do.
than
I
interested.
mean,
Uh,
at the risk of taking your time, I do. I mean, what happened was Anjali was on that tour, and in Melbourne, Anjali generally doesn't go to see Sachin play. So Anjali was sitting there to watch that Melbourne Test match, and first ball or what happens, ball down leg, Sachin flicks, he gets an edge, and the wicket keeper was standing way back. Sachin says, I'm looking at the keeper, the ball going into his hands, and I'm thinking, what will happen to Anjali? Anjali just walked out of the stadium, started walking down the Yara, and just left in a huff. Sachin wasn't doing well. He called Ajit, and Ajit told him, "You are not letting the bowlers get you out. You are giving the bowlers your wicket. If you play well, there is no bowler in the world who can get you out. Can you ensure that you don't give your wicket?" So Sachin says, "What do you mean?" This is exactly what I told you, that you are actually not letting the bowlers get you out, you're gifting your wicket away. He said, fair enough, I will not play a single cover drive. And that's what happens. He said, Brad Williams, somebody who's not the best, right? Even Brad Williams was sledging him, saying, what happened? Have you forgotten how to play the cover drive? And his whole take was, you can keep sledging as much. I will curb my ego and the scoreboard will tell who's the winner, you or me. And that test match, first day, they went to this Oriental restaurant, and Sachin had taken 3-4 Indian cricketers with him. So they sat in one corner and ordered Thai food, 3-4 kinds of dishes. He was not out next day. He called the same number of cricketers and said, "Can we go and have some Thai food?" And they did not understand. He went to that same restaurant, and the owner realized, "Arey, again they've come." So they must have loved our food. Sachin sat there in the corner and said, "Whatever we had yesterday, can you please repeat?" So they said, "Must be that this guy genuinely loves our food." So the same menu came. The next day he was unbeaten again, and he did it again. Okay, he went, sat there, ordered the same food. And this owner came and said, Indian cricketers love our food and all this. Hey, nonsense. This is exactly what Sachin Tendulkar did for 3 consecutive days. We've written about it in Playing It My Way. And whenever you get a chance to speak to him, you can ask him, Sachin, why did you repeat 3 days? Because the other players were bored by then, saying this guy is making us eat the same food. But that's Sachin for you.
With Boyana, you can go on with this talk whole day. It's so entertaining. And today, our producer Shopnil has power in his hand because he has some random picks from Sachin centuries. We don't know which ones. So I will ask Swapnil to play one by one, and we can talk about it a bit. Because, okay,
Shopnil, give us the
Sri
number.
Lanka
That's
versus
like
Sri
that.
Lanka.
okay,
Kotla.
Hmm.
Firoz Shah Kotla.
Yosha Kotla. Okay, Swapnil, can you please remove the picture so we can talk? Any memories from this one?
This is not the best one. I mean, the memory is not the best one because Sanath and Kalu destroyed us. But Devashish, if you remember.
Okay, the next one.
This is,
Oh, this is the iconic photo.
Yeah.
I mean, two
I actually
consecutive
had
ones.
this
One of the
photo.
next one. This
Uh,
is Nagpur. This is Nagpur and Bangladesh, 99th and 100. I thought that was one of the best innings Sachin played against Dale Steyn and company in the World Cup. Oh, India lost in that last over, but what an encounter it was. And Sachin was phenomenal in that particular innings. Phenomenal.
Okay. So two more. Shapnil.
This
Ah,
is obvious.
first over to
The
that was
first
England.
one.
I think.
first one.
England.
Okay, let
First
me
over
give you
to
a quick story on this. So at the end of the
Yeah.
match, Sachin was man of the match. Okay, Madhav Mantri, one of India's legends from the 1950s. Madhav Mantri was the manager. So Madhav Mantri comes to Tendulkar and says, "You have to come for the interviews. You have to come for the post-match, the press conference." He said, "Sir, प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस आप संभाल लो, मैंने तो काम कर दिया." So he said, नहीं नहीं, तुम्हें प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस करना है, मैन ऑफ द मैच तुम हो, तुम आ जाओ. सो माधव मान से सचिन सेड, नहीं नहीं, वो इंग्लिश जर्नलिस्ट मेरे को बहुत कठिन सवाल पूछेगा, वो हमको नहीं आता है, हम नहीं आएगा. तो माधव मंत्री लिटरली ड्रैग्ड हिम एंड सेड, तुम बैठो, this is the start of 1 million press conferences that you will do in life. Do it. And then at the end of it, he said, नहीं नहीं सर, मेरे को तो उन्होंने बहुत काइंडली सवाल पूछा, मेरे को कोई उल्टा सीधा सवाल किसी ने नहीं पूछा, मैंने मैनेज कर लिया. And he was given a bottle of champagne. Okay. Now, obviously, he was underage, so he couldn't have that champagne. So he brought it back and opened that champagne the day his daughter Sarah was born. So that is the other story from that first 100.
Okay, so Shapnil is the last one.
This is the
Again,
iconic 100.
iconic. Iconic. 100.
The iconic one. Uh, Thank you, Shapnil, for this one. So we had a brilliant talk about Sachin Tendulkar. So moving on, we have the ODI also. Boryada, the ODI. How important will this be for both the teams for the World Cup?
I actually want Shubhan and Devashish to take that, but from my standpoint, clearly the injury management issues have thrown India's World Cup plans slightly off gear because that core group is no longer in place. No Bumrah, no Pant, no Iyer. So how do you reconcile with that and how do you go about it? Because I think World Cup preparation will have to start in earnest. You have to create backups. I would want Shubhan and Devashish to answer.
Shubhan, you go first.
Absolutely, I think Boye is spot on here. The core group of Jasprit Bumrah, Rishabh Pant, Shreyas Iyer, they are at least not here in this series. Shreyas Iyer, I am not sure when he will return. There's a long IPL. He will at least miss half of the IPL. So NCA is again under the scanner. But coming to this series specifically, it's going to be a good series. Not many matches are left for India to prepare for the ODI World Cup. There will be IPL in between as well. But Rohan, when we talk about plannings, when we talk about a roadmap, we have a plan, set playing 11 or set playing 13. Right now, if you see the Indian team in ODI format, I don't think their batting lineup is still more or less fixed. But I'm not sure about their bowling unit. I'm not sure about which all-rounders they are going to play. Will they play a Shardul Thakur? Will they play a Washington Sundar? How do you fit a Ravindra Jadeja and an Akshar Patel together? Is there a space for a Kuldeep Yadav in that bowling unit? So there are plenty of question marks right now, and with not many matches left, India will have to figure out what their core playing 11 or playing 13 is.
On that, Devashish, who do you think will be the all-rounder for India?
Yeah, obviously, Hardik Pandya and Ravindra Jadeja are your two all-rounders. They are
Right.
match winners in their own right. Hardik, Hardik will definitely, certainly be there,
He
and
will be the
Jadeja
captain for the
making a
first
comeback
match.
in the series after almost 7 months. So that
Yeah.
will be also a main focus in this series. Jadeja, we all know, means he proved it in the Test series, and so we all know he's a multi-format player. So Jadeja's coming back into the team augurs well for the side. And yes, definitely there are concerns with the injury to Rishabh Pant and Jasprit Bumrah, who was definitely. But Shreyas Iyer, I won't say won't affect much because you have a Surya Kumar Yadav. And so I think that pretty much evens out. But having said that, obviously all eyes will be on Jadeja in this series for India.
I actually think all eyes will also be on KL Rahul because can KL Rahul come back after that sort of tough period and perform as wicketkeeper? Does that open up the door for KL, like Shubhan was mentioning the other day? In fact, Mr. Gavaskar has said the same, that KL could be an option for the WTC final.
Yeah.
It's a one-off. Will KL be able to make a case with his one-day wicket keeping that he is actually an option for the World Cup, much more important, and also for the WTC final, not the bilateral series, but two massive matches coming up, one series and one match, and can KL make a case?
Okay. So we'll have.
Will it be the right call, Buryada? Will it be the right call? Means when you have someone like a KS Bharat who has played this series, and then suddenly, all of a sudden,
But has KS Bharat impressed you a bit, Mama?
no,
Devashish?
no. No, that is for everyone will agree, except that KS
Right.
Bharat did not look like how do you put it? Means he did not do confidence. Means missing dollies.
So in the fourth test, could Ishan Kishan could have been given a chance?
I don't know. Sunny Bhai has made a valid point as well, because you need
but
the experience of a KL Rahul who scored 100 in England.
Saurav in that interview to Devashish said Ishan Kishan. Now this becomes a tricky one, right? I mean, Ishan Kishan, will you give him that match? And suppose he fails, everybody will jump on that kid. Do you go to a KL Rahul who at least has the experience? Do you go to a
Yes.
KS Bharat? So all of this is a very tricky call for India. So Saurav is saying Ishan, Mr. Gavaskar is saying,
KL Rahul.
KL Rahul. Shubhan made this point about KL Rahul the other day that should he get to keep? So this is a tough one for India, but for KL, from his career standpoint, think of what Rahul Dravid did in 2003. If he has to play that World Cup and he gets in his wicket keeping to a certain standard, he gives himself a new lifeline.
Okay. So we'll have the ODI discussions tomorrow also, but because we have lots to discuss and time is running out, on the ISL final coming up, we have two Mohun Bagan supporters over here. Subhan, you're East Bengal, right? Okay.
Why am I even in this discussion? It's morning pain for me. It's morning pain for me to be among two Mohun Bagan fans right now ahead of an ISL final. I don't know when we will play the final. I tweeted when Boria wrote it after the last match that these are the two finalists tagging Mohun Bagan and all. And I said,
I am going to share.
wake up, East
I'm
Bengal.
going to share a picture now. I'm going to tweet something that Buryada will like it very much. I'm keeping it a surprise. If immediately after the show, I'm going to.
Okay. Yesterday we had a long chat.
Apparently, our chief minister has asked the sports minister to travel to Goa
Yes.
to encourage Mohun Bagan. So, the whole city is getting behind Mohun Bagan. So, Shubhan, for tomorrow, you are a convert. We will appropriate you as Mohun Bagan.
No way. My family will disown me. My family will disown me if I do that. No way. No way. Never in my life. Mohun Bagan, never in my life. Even if they are playing any top team, never in my life. But hopefully,
So
yes.
you
Good
become a
for
convert.
good for
For the sake of
Kol.
Bengal, for the sake of greater
Yeah.
Bengal, Bengali unity has to be Mohun Bagan. Come on, Rohan.
No, because
That
Mune
is the
Badhe
problem
actually.
with East Bengal supporters.
Mune Badhe.
But had it been East Bengal reaching the final, Mohun Bagan supporters would have
No.
supported East Bengal.
No. I remember that 2013 AFC Cup semi-final we were playing against Kuwait FC. None of the Mohun Bagan fans came to cheer for East Bengal. Mohammedan supporters were there. I was there in the ground.
Yep.
No.
For the greatest Indian striker, I am backing the greatest Indian striker ever.
But I that 2016 where in Kantidava that Belo Razak headed the ball to win the cup. That match I was actually wanting Mohun Bagan to win because let the trophy come to Kolkata after such a long time.
Our producer Joy Mohun Bagan.
Our producer is only writing Joy Mohun Bagan. So-
I have been to the training session last night, and I could see the confidence in the Bagan camp. And especially with the likes of Ashik Kurumia now fit, he missed the two semi-finals against Hyderabad FC. and to him coming back, that strengthened the Mohan Bagan, and everyone is available. Let me put out, be it a Petratos or a Hugo Bumos or a Slapko or a Carl McHugh. All the foreigners are available. Everyone is charged up because second ISL final in 3 years, very few teams will hope for such an achievement. And quite a number of Mohun Bagan fans are traveling, I'm told. And I had
Yeah.
a word with Kotal, the captain. He said, "Are you are here. You are not doing cricket." I said, "No, no, no, no. I have come here to wish you all luck." And remember, Mohun Bagan happens to win that championship ISL final. Next morning, they are coming back to Calcutta, and there will be a grand what to say celebration. We have seen this in the past. And remember, if you remember the I League, the first time that Mohun Bagan won the I League, from airport till the Mohun Bagan club, it took almost 4 hours for the players to reach the Mohun Bagan tent. So you can imagine, see the expectations, the build up to the final, and obviously the Mohun Bagan and Bengaluru FC always shared this rivalry between them.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, Buria, final in Goa, Mohun Bagan won the National Football League in Goa back in 2001. So, do you think they can do it again?
There is no reason why not. In fact, if you see the semi-final against Mumbai for Bengaluru, I thought Mumbai was a better team. Bengaluru showed greater spirit, and the fairy tale comeback that they've done is phenomenal. Having said that, qualitatively, I would say Mohun Bagan is a better team. There's no question. ATK Mohun Bagan is a more solid team. If they play to potential, Vishal Kaith is doing extremely well. Already the
Yes,
Golden Glove winner. Even in the last match, Vishal Kaith stood up. Gurpreet has had a mixed season. Sunil, however much I sort of love that guy, having said that, Sunil is no longer the Sunil of the past. He's there, but it's not the Sunil of the past. Roy Krishna, again, somebody we know very well, sort of made a career with Mohun Bagan, at least in India.
Roy Krishna against Mohun Bagan.
Exactly. So that is another emotion. Having said that, Roy is also not the Roy of 3 years back. If you take the Mohun Bagan side, the only problem, and we know this, is the scoring. Because we've not been able to do justice, but the defense is now strong enough. Hugo Bumos needs to deliver. I thought Ferrando, by dropping or replacing Hugo Bumos at the halftime, was a slightly tricky one. Having said that, all season Juan Ferrando has been criticized. And look at what his result is. He's taken the team to the final. Now, if he wins the final, what do you tell him? He's delivered. So that is the other funny part about Juan Ferrando, right? So we've got to see. We've got to see, how things go. But Orinjoy Bose will be there to cover it for us. Dulal, they will be there to cover it for us. So we will have people in Goa. Sanjeev Goenka obviously will be there with his team. I've had a detailed chat with him. Joynil yesterday was asking me, will I want to go or not? I said, we'll do it from here. So we'll have multiple people covering it from Goa for RevSportz. Debashish will do it here. And then the icing on the cake will be when that victory parade happens. Debashish will be accompanied by Shubha.
I'm absolutely dreading it right now.
Shubhan, I'm there with you. No, don't worry.
I hope Sunil Chhetri, Roy Krishna use all their experience, all their previous goals and that.
I don't know when we will see Ismail playing in the final. Because, again,
It's not happening. It's not happening for the next decade or so at least.
No. You need to have a core team, at least playing for 2-3 seasons.
That's a different story altogether. East Bengal is a different story altogether.
Yeah. So it was great to have talk to you about Sachin's century, the ISL final. We hope me and Shubhan come out on top. But again, for the sake of Bengal football, we want ATK Mohun Bagan to bring. We are in a sort of dilemma. So thank you, Debashish and Shubhan, for joining. And with Boyada, I'll continue with the badminton and boxing. Thank you, Shubhan.
Thank you, Rohan. Thank you.
Thank you.
Debashish, get our jerseys, Mohun Bagan jerseys.
I will definitely.
Not for me. Not for me.
Not for me.
And you
The only
must have one Shubhan number 10.
Buryada, you know how much I love
I will get Shubhan number 10 done. That's the promise. I will ensure I take it from Pritam and give it
Hey,
to Shubhan.
Bhagavan. I can't, I can't bring that jersey home. I'll have to keep it hidden somewhere.
Oh,
Oh,
But great chat, great chat. Thank you, thank you.
thank you, thank you.
thank you. Thank you. Murada, before we come to boxing and badminton, thoughts on the hockey team? They have bounced back after
Oh,
that World Cup bad performance. They has been phenomenal in this round of the FIH Pro League. Unbeaten.
absolutely. Absolutely, and Rourkela and Birsa Munda Stadium, you were there. I mean, it's a fortress, right, for Indian hockey. You've not lost there. You've still
No.
not lost
No,
there.
not even in the
And
World Cup.
yesterday that Sukhjit turn for the second goal, I thought was mind blowing. I mean, the way he did that turn and set it up for Kranti to score was phenomenal. Look at how Harmanpreet converted the two shootouts and the way he was relaxed. And look at Harmanpreet and look at his tweet. He's sitting there all alone and he's saying, "Thank you, Rourkela." Look at Harmanpreet's tweet and you're like, 1 month back, this man was being abused and castigated and trolled. And look at what happens 1 month later. To beat Germany twice, to beat Australia twice is no joke. Having said that, what does this tell you? It tells you that this team has the ability, they have the flair, they have the potential. There is something in the mind. Because of that, unfortunately, in the World Cup, we got cocoon 20,000 people, pressure,
Absolutely.
home World Cup. I think that is where India needs to address it because if we do, this is a good enough team to do well at the world stage.
Absolutely. And that pressure of fans, home fans in World Cup, they learned from that and delivered here in the Pro League. That showed that they have the mentality to move forward. So that's what we were talking at the in the conclusive video of the World Cup. And coming to that, yes, the tournament's next round will be played in New Zealand, where India won't be playing. So India's next matches will be in England, where they will play in London, so where they will play Great Britain and Belgium, and then they will move forward to Netherlands. And okay, so having said that, England, Birmingham, All England Open, Abhishek Deshmukh will say has sent his review. We'll see that, but before that, PV Sindhu with the loss. So do you think it's high time for her to take a new coach?
Yeah, she has to. I mean, my question is if you look at Sindhu, look at her physical strength, look at her height, look at her physicality, and look at her ability. I mean, she's one of my favorite athletes. She's a champion. Yesterday she was in and out of the match. She was playing well in bursts, and then all of a sudden she was out of the game. She was finding it difficult to retrieve shuttles, which is her strength next to near the net. She was finding it difficult. Her movement was not up to the mark. She slightly seemed underdone to me, and also seemed not the usual self. She seemed confused. Yes, I know it for a fact that when you have a major injury, it takes time both in the mind and in terms of physical fitness to regain that. Having said that, it was not the Sindhu you want to see. And being Sindhu, who is one of our greatest champions, we are a country starved of champions. I think we need her back ASAP. Now, how do you do that? She is clearly not training with Hafiz Hashim. She made that
Yeah.
clear to Abhijit. She is in search of a new coach. Now, my point is, and I've written this, why is it that the Badminton Association of India and the Sports Authority of India is not sitting Sindhu and Gopi down? Why is it that we have to have a Mahesh Leander case? Why is it that 10 years down the line, a Gopi will think, what would have happened if Sindhu would have stayed? What would Sindhu have thought? What would have happened if Gopi and I were together? For the sake of Indian badminton, are these differences irreconcilable? Can they not be breached? Can it not happen that these two come together for the sake of Paris 2024? These are important questions, but one wants Sindhu to be at her best. Like I said, she's India's best by far in terms of women's singles for Paris 24.
Absolutely. And we saw Satvik and Chirag with that Natu Natu dance before they won yesterday. So do you think they are a contender of the title?
They are, but they have to beat Liang and Wang today. And they lost to them
Yeah.
in the Malaysia 1000 semi-finals. Liang and Wang have been in fantastic form. They've beaten the minions. They've beaten multiple top teams already this year in the Super Series titles. That is a tough one. Yesterday, Chia and So lost in the first round. As a result, if Liang and Wang can be beaten by Satvik and Chirag today, then the quarterfinals open up. And I think the draw opens up big time for Satvik and Chirag. So the match is today. If they can beat the Chinese, then I see them going all the way. I absolutely see them going to the semi-finals, and then who knows. But it's a massive match today against the Chinese pair.
Absolutely. Okay. So we don't have much time. So can we please have the day two review from Abhijit Deshmukh?
Hello, this is Abhijit Deshmukh from Birmingham. Day 2 at the All England Open for Indian shuttler was a mixed bag. In the morning, Teresa Jolie and Gayatri Gopichan won their first round in the women's doubles against the pair of Thailand. This was the first victory for Teresa Jolie and Gayatri Gopichan against the Thailand pair. After that, PV Sindhu lost her first round match against Zhang Yiman of China. Sindhu making comeback after the injury. However, she told me after the match that she is fit, but it's just about the rhythm. She is not able to match at the moment. After that, Kidambi Srikanth won his singles match against the France opponent. Srikanth was actually lost the first game, but however he made a great comeback, and in the third game he just destroyed his opponent and won the third game 21-5. In the All Indian men's doubles match between Chirag and Satvik versus Krishna and Vishnuvardhan. Chirag and Satvik, of course, the seasoned badminton player, came over the obstacle of Krishna and Vishnuvardhan. It was a good match. After the match, Chirag and Satvik said, it sometimes gets tricky because the opponents know your language as well, and he was able to find out what Vishnu and Krishna were discussing in Telugu. After that, unfortunately, the other two Indian pairs in men's double, Arjun and Dhruv Kapila, couldn't reach the round of 16. They lost their match against Rain and Tank of China. As well, Ashwini Bhatt and Shikha Gautam lost their women's double match in the first round. So I would say it's a mixed day for India, as Teresa Jolie, Gayatri Gopichan, Srikanth Kedembi, Chirag and Satvik winning. However, PV Sindhu, Arjun Kapila and Ashwini and Shikha Gautam losing. Abhijit Deshmukh from Birmingham for RevSportz.
Okay. So today also we have Lakshya Sen playing, Kidambi Srikanth playing, HS Pranav playing. So we will have updates from Abhijit Deshmukh from Birmingham. And moving on to the Boxing World Championship in New Delhi, Nikhat Zarin's first bout. Do you think she will be able to defend the title, Boyala?
There is every reason to be hopeful. Every reason. I've had a chat with Nikhat, had a chat with Bhaskar Bhatt. There is every reason for Nikhat, to be hopeful about Nikhat. Yes, she's playing the Algerian in the second round, provided she wins today. But you know what? I mean, there is no reason to believe that Nikhat will not be able to do so, or rather win, because she's trained well. She's a confident girl. She knows her ability. She's got long reach. She has sort of reduced a couple of kilos and come to the 50. She played in the 52 earlier. 50 is an Olympic category. As a result, she's obviously come to the 50. I'm extremely confident about Nikhat Zarin.
Okay, so the Indian contingent for this competition are Neetu Gangas in 48 kgs, Nikhat Zarin 50, Sakshi Chaudhary in 52 kgs, Preeti 54, Manisha Mohan 57, Jasmine Lamboria 60 kgs, Shashi Chopra 63, Manju Bamboria 66, Sanam Chanu 70, Lovlina Borgen 75, Sweetie Bura 81, and Nupur Shevran 81 plus.
So, I think there's a last minute change in the Sanamacha Chanu category because she had a concussion. I think that's the last second change. Yesterday her name was pulled out and they put in the reserve boxer in that category.
Okay, so how many medal contenders do you see from here? Nikhat Zarin, Lovlina Borgohain.
I have hopes of Jasmine as well, because I know Jasmine and the way she has trained. Jasmine Lamboria, one of India's most promising boxers. Manisha, that you should definitely expect 4 about 5 or 6 medals from this contingent. Yesterday, the president of the boxing world body said India is the new home of women's boxing. Now, if you are, then you might as well defend. There's no Britain, no the United States, so this is a relatively easier place. This World Championship, 65 countries and all. Having said that, no United States, no England, which means this is relatively easier for you. So you must stand up, because this will give you a reality check. How well are you prepared for Paris? Because then you've got to get ready. So I think it will be a reasonably decent showing for India.
Okay. So thank you, Boryada. Thank you for it. We had a long chat with everything. Tomorrow we'll again have the show tomorrow. The ODI is coming up. The ISL final is up. So we'll have lots of stories. Abhijit Deshmukh will be sending stories from Birmingham, and we'll cover it all. So thank you for joining, and follow our social media handles and website for our written pieces. Thank you.